And a 10 snap. It was just a normal space trip, routine operation. We were heading back up to Polus since the research station needed repairs, and on our way there we had some issues with the ship, so we fixed that too. I honestly don't know what did it. Everything was fine until we got off that dropship. Then Blue went absolutely berserk, killing the crewmates left, right, and center like it was possessed. This thing, whatever it was, it couldn't have been human, was running around the station at the speed of light. It would be near the left stabilizer, then boom, next to admin. It would be in oxygen, then all of a sudden behind you, snapping your neck. This was something unlike anything we've seen before. We threw it into lava, but it just crawled out. And a 9 the break. Killing it Among Us isn't that horrifying. It's just the sound and then a body falling on the floor. But that's not what happened in the lobby owned by the user named Death. Death had the maximum of 10 people with 2 imposters, pretty standard. So we played through the game, and eventually someone reveals that they're the imposter. They say that they wanted the round to end because they couldn't take the sounds anymore. We were all confused but voted them off anyway. The round ended and I didn't understand what they meant until a couple of rounds later. The imposters kept leaving, so the rounds were fairly quick, but we were always getting new people. But, you know, luck of the draw makes sure that I'm not the imposter. Until now. When I get that message, I'm excited, totally forgetting about what the others have said. I instantly wait for the sweet cooldown, and then once I'm alone, crunch. The sound of the death was distorted. It sounded like a million bones breaking at once. It hurt my ears, and I wasn't even wearing headphones. I turned my volume down and tried again, but it still sounded the same. Same volume, same everything, even though I turned it down. I turned the volume off because, let's be honest, you don't really need it, but nevertheless it still played the same sound, even if the sound was muted. I don't know what the hell was happening here, but I'm never playing with death again. Just a little reminder, guys, if you're enjoying the video, please do hit that like button. It really helps us out with the almighty algorithm and lets us know what you want to see more of. And at 8 fetch. On a long space voyage, they usually don't let you bring pets, since being in space can ruin their bone structure and could kill them. But my dog is different. He's a good boy that I found during our last voyage. He was one of the native species on Polus, a planet formerly known as Omega 78. This little guy is the best, okay? He's the same color as my spacesuit and loves to play fetch. We don't have many things to do on the ship. There was a little emergency before, but I completed all my tasks, so now I just throw a stick for him to pick up and bring back. It's a simple game that my parents used to play with me. Oh, here my little guy comes now. What do you got there, buddy? What is that? Is that a bone? How did you... Oh my god. Orange is dead. And it's 7 Silent Assassin. Among Us is an incredible game, where one person can go from a noob to a pro in one night. And the case is the same for everyone. They can go from killing in front of someone to wiping you out in a matter of hours. And that's exactly what happened to my friend, but it changed her. This was a couple months ago. My friends and I were playing our weekly game of Among Us when a friend who's new to the game asked if they could join. We allowed them to, and they were garbage. I was the imposter with them, and she got called out at the first meeting. Then she asked why my name was red, and they voted me off next. Not even a sabotage could save me. However, next week she was absolutely amazing. It was us again, and she did all the work. I didn't kill a single person. I never got the chance. But the way she's acting now is odd to say the least. She doesn't really talk, only while playing a game or sitting at a table during lunch or something. She doesn't talk during class or in the hallways. It's almost like she's method acting and lunch counts as a meeting. I don't know what's gotten into her, but I'm worried there's more to this sudden increase in skill than she's letting on. And at 6, test 4587. Polus is an interesting map. One of the most brutal ejected scenes of them all. Dropping someone into a pool of lava is always more gruesome than throwing them into space or letting them plummet to their death. What lies under the lava, though, is probably what makes this the most disgusting thing you can do to another player in Among Us. The imposters are aliens, we know this. But what we didn't look out for are the aliens that originate from Polus. These creatures, known as test subjects by Mira, are the native species of Polus, and are lava-dwelling creatures that we end up feeding by throwing our crewmates out. The one in the pit we use is known as Test 4587, and they're the most influential of the bunch. These aliens are capable of a base amount of mind control or influence, and these creatures are the ones turning us against each other. They make the imposters, and they make us feed them dinner. Halfway through at number 5, 11th player. No way! I'm looking for an online match in Among Us, and one lobby says 11th 7 players allowed? I quickly joined since this will get filled up fast because it's a glitch. The game started and Brown quickly died. Pink reported the body but couldn't explain what happened, so most people voted them off. In the meeting, I was looking for the 11th player, curious as to what color they would be, but all I saw was the 11th player with question marks as their name. 10 minutes go by without a meeting. Blue, purple, and lime are all dead. Green was placed at the death of all 3, but green was not the imposter. After the meeting, I was following people around and saw green again. That's impossible, so I follow them, but turn a corner and only see orange. I head back to the button to tell the others what I saw, but orange gets there first. There's no way he could have beat me unless they vented. I explained everything and the majority voted for orange, but the game continued. I kept trying to remain unsuspect, skipping each time, but the crew was paranoid and voted someone new every time. Only 3 remained, me, Gray, and Lime. We head to the reactor meltdown, but Lime tries to kill Gray, but it doesn't work. Instead, Gray kills Lime? There were 2 imposters? As I see this, Gray's color starts changing from green to lime to orange, then to my color yellow. When they killed me, my game crashed, so I don't know what happened next, but I hope this never happens again. And at 4, I watched cams. Cameras are great. Sometimes the imposter will even kill on cams every now and then. I know that personally, thanks Lindsay. But my last game is really making me question if cams are worth it anymore. I went to watch cams when playing with a group of friends, and somehow one of my friends, Adam, ended up vanishing. No death, no vent, just gone. I call an emergency meeting and he's still in the game. My friends in voice chat tell me that he's just AFK, but that's not the issue. He literally vanished. I know what I saw. And one of my friends disconnects from everything. I freak out. What is going on? I yell. He just disconnected, man. Calm down. I will not calm down. I saw it and nobody believes me. I don't need you guys. I stop talking to them and hear footsteps outside my door. Someone's coming. What is it, Sam? How'd you get a phone in here? How'd you figure out the password to the... Oh, that's not a phone. That's just a piece of cardboard from lunch. I need to tell Doc about this. We really need to up your medication. And at 3, the vents. The vents are an asset to any imposter. They make getting around faster and dealing with the crewmates easier. However, now I'm staying the hell away. I was playing imposter a few weeks ago and I was avoiding the vents and managed to kill 2 people before they found the first body. They seemed surprised but didn't really suspect me. As the meeting ends, I hear a voice in my headset. Use the vents. I checked my tabs because I thought I was playing something like a YouTube video, but I wasn't. There was no other sound coming from my computer, so what the hell is talking to me? You'll lose without the vents, the demonic voice says again as I approach a vent, but as I do, I stop. I see 2 red dots poking out from inside. There was something in the vents. An emergency meeting is called. Brown was dead. People mention that I am AFK and can't be the imposter, but I didn't do anything. Someone was dead, but I didn't do it. It must have been the thing in the vents. I'm trying to help you, it said. The game is almost over. The bar is almost full. What do I do? Do I go in the vents or stay away and try to win without its power? Let me know what you do in the comments. Penultimately, in at number 2, Predator. Among Us hacks are no joke. I was playing with them a while ago, but will never do that again. Hacking in a game like Among Us is scummy, and I was only doing it with friends. At one point, I turned on something called Predator mode, and I didn't know what it did. It gave me unlimited power. I could go invisible, I could change my character color, and I could kill with no cooldown. I enjoyed it at first, messing with my friends by killing someone using someone else's color, or even funnier, their own, but after that is when things got bad. The hack kind of took on a mind of its own, activating random things when I didn't want them, killing without discretion, and even moving me around. It was weird and not common in the beginning, but after a couple of rounds, the game was completely controlled by AI. At one point, the character even faced me. It wasn't looking left or right, but dead ahead, to me, through the screen. As this happens, I see its mouth open and a tongue shoot through. It looked so real coming at me. That's because it was. The tongue came through the screen and punctured it, turning the game off and cutting the tongue. It bled blue. I'm never playing with hacks again. Finally, in at number 1, Impostor 99. When the lights go out in electrical, you're in for a shock. So when this happened, I ran out. I don't want to get killed, but when I came out, I saw them, the imposter. They were in a black spacesuit, but instead had a blood red mask or visor, whatever you want to call it. Semantics don't matter here. The suit also had the Earth on it, covered by a dark red X. I ran, and that was my first mistake. I knew all my friends, and they didn't have any skins like that, so I have no idea who this guy could be. I look to unmute myself on Discord, but I can't, and everyone is complaining about how they got disconnected. Discord then closes suddenly along with every other application except Among Us. I tried shutting down my PC in a panic, but it didn't work. I tried throwing it out my window, but it just appeared back on my desk. I saw the imposter on my screen again. Its helmet had cracked and it was walking towards me slowly. As it did, it pulled out a rusty, bloody knife. The kill animation started and the imposter shot me in the chest. As my character fell, I felt my chest get warmer, hot even. I ran to the bathroom clutching it. It hurt so bad. And look in the mirror. My eyes were bloodshot and red. I look into the sink and the knife appears in front of me, rusty and bloody. And writing on the mirror writes, "Appease your master." My first mistake was running away. I should have embraced my lord. And now, you will too. In a 10 sus. It started with one round. I paired off with another player to see what they were doing. We could both do asteroids, so we knew we'd be safe together. We stuck together the whole time and even caught the imposters running away from the bodies together. After the round, we added each other on Discord, but after that happened, things started getting weird. This guy, who said his name was Jordan, would berate me with messages to play, which I guess is understandable since he said he didn't have many friends. But he would also constantly send me invites through Discord, despite me saying countless times that those only crashed my game. After a couple of days of this, he ended up finding me on Instagram, which is weird, yes, but I don't really care. I didn't follow him back so I could pretend like I didn't know who he was. But he didn't like that. He started spamming me to follow him back on Instagram, Discord, and even found my Facebook. And while this was starting to get suspicious, I didn't consider him a stalker until he messaged me that he saw me doing tasks at Walmart. I was getting groceries. I fear what he'll do next. Please help me. In a 9 Osiris. A new Among Us update came out today. This is the one that we've all been waiting for. Everything that was supposed to be in Among Us 2 is now here, and sooner than expected. I log in and start to load up a public lobby. I pick the new map, Osiris, and people flood in, excited to play this new map and see what we will discover. Osiris is underground, like a little oasis that I'm sure we found under Polus. I head around looking for any hidden secrets or dead bodies and end up finding a version of Vitals. It looks like it was set up in a hurry, I guess adding to the lore of this game. But the Vitals was different than the others. It showed the characters' beats per minute, like a heart rate monitor that YouTubers use in horror games. All the characters have the same heart rate, presumably their resting one, since nobody was in danger. Then someone's heart rate goes up. It's now at 81, and it was just 60 seconds ago. I also noticed someone's BPM go down. Black went from 60 to 40. I guess that means that they're the furthest from the killer. Since Orange died shortly thereafter, I called a meeting and explained what happened. I didn't realize that his heart rate went down because it calmed him to kill Orange. The map disappeared after that and I was unable to play it again, and honestly, I think that's for the better. Also guys, I'm gonna be live streaming tomorrow on the channel. We'll be playing some Fall Guys and it's actually going to be live. It's not a premiere, so you can actually interact with me in chat, give me challenges, and show your support. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure you set a reminder tomorrow, Tuesday, November 10th, 2020 at 3 p.m. EST, that's noon Pacific, okay? I'm not good at this game and I don't have a crown yet, so it's bound to be a riot. See you there. In a date, Demon. I'm not one to believe in the supernatural. I play games like Phasmophobia and In Silence because they're interesting and something that wouldn't happen in this world, but never did I expect something like that from Among Us. However, one night while in Mirror HQ, I saw what can only be described as a demon. A cloud of black smoke that would just go wherever it wanted. It was yellow, the color I usually play as, but this account couldn't have been hacks. This had to have been something more. Hacks are ridiculous, but the main point of them is to use them without others noticing, not turning into a cloud and killing 3 people at once. This player was like a machine, killing anyone it could, or even at one point possessing another player's crewmate and killing in their body. I saw all of it. I think they wanted me to. It was like a weird game to them, and not in the sense that it was Among Us, but like they were playing something else. Me. And at 7 Isolation, it was just us left. Me and it, and I'm not going quietly. This thing, whatever it is, killed my whole crew. A crime that cannot go unpunished. I hear footsteps coming up the hall. I run into medbay and hide under a bed. It comes in looking horrific. 4 spider-like legs with 3-toed feet, a tongue with 3 fingers on the end. This thing was what can only be described as my worst nightmares. I hold my breath. It leaves. I come out from under the bed and quickly look for anything I can use as a weapon. A fire extinguisher. It may not hold them off for long, but I can do my best. The lights shut off, I can hear footsteps coming. Hopefully this thing can't see in the dark. And at 6 Electrical. Space travel can get lonely, especially being away from your family for so long with a bunch of people you don't know. But you soon grow close to each other and sometimes maybe a little too close. Being in space, we run on solar power, so the ship's electrical systems typically don't need to be repaired. That means the electrical room is almost always empty, especially the back section. So sometimes a couple of my crewmates will head back there to join the light high year club, if you know what I mean. That is, they did until when yellow and blue went back to make green and instead found their torn corpse. They brought it in and explained their situation, but never revealed why they were back there in the first place, but we all knew. Especially Lime, who is in fact Yellow's wife. So needless to say, there were 2 corpses found because of their little rendezvous. That's fine, that just means less for me to kill. And when we eject Blue for being a killer, all I need to do is take one more to the back of electrical. Halfway through number 5 inmates. I'm surprised they didn't throw me out of the ship. I guess they wanted the killer to face justice and rather than just perish, but they have the wrong guy. I told them I was scanning in medbay when the person died, but they didn't believe me. They wanted me to scan again, but I'd already done it. The machine won't turn on for the same card more than once. They thought I was lying, but I didn't come anywhere close to red. Blue was very interested in accusing me though, making me think it was actually them who just wanted to pass on the blame. But why would they show everyone the body if it was them that killed them? I don't know. Okay? Officer, when will I be out of here? You won't, but thanks for taking the blame for me, chump. You know, there's a reason they call cops the boys in blue. And at 4, the thing. I walk out of the landing strip and see almost everyone follow behind me. Yellow, green, orange, lime, blue, red, and black. But white and pink aren't with everyone else. I head back to see what the holdup is. Maybe they got stuck doing the evaluation or something. And as I turn the corner, I see what's wrong. White was on the ground, blood pooling around a half-eaten body with one bone sticking out as if it was on display at a butcher shop. And Pink was standing over them. But Pink wasn't like any other crewmate, it was wrong. It had a hole in its stomach, almost shaped like a mouth, and part of a white spacesuit was stuck on the, I guess, teeth. The arms were longer, almost 3 times as long, and the legs were somehow the same. I don't know what that thing is, but it didn't like seeing me at the scene of the crime. I turned to run away, but like I said, the thing had long arms. And at 3 asteroids, I woke up. I scanned my card and went right to weapons. It was like any other day. There were around 20 asteroids in our area, so I had to take them out before we ran into any that were in our way. The ship is on autopilot and doesn't really look for that sort of thing. I shoot 10 asteroids and then I feel the ship tilt. I quickly head to navigation to realign the steering and then head back to weapons. I start shooting the remaining asteroids again, but when I'm on the last one, I see an anomaly I wanted to look into further. I zoom in and notice that the anomaly I thought was more rock was in fact blue, one of the crewmates on the ship, tied to an asteroid and covered with rocks in an attempt to hide the body. I shoot the asteroid and think that next time, I need to get more rocks. And at 2, suspense. The room was cold. It makes sense, the generators were off, that's why I was in electrical in the first place, but you figure that even with it off, all the electronics would have generated enough heat to keep the place from shooting my gonads back into my body. The room was dark, cold, and terrifying. I know there's nothing to be worried about, but I still couldn't help it. I took a deep breath and headed to the back panel. I begin restarting the generator when I hear a sound come from the vents. I jump back only to see some dust kick up from the vent hatch. The generator starting had gotten the heat back on. That's good. I feel a cold hand on my back and turn around to see Brown holding a bloody knife. What the hell is that? I shout at him. Relax, dude. I'm just cooking some beets to go with dinner. What's gotten into you, man? You're so tense. I take a deep breath and walk out with Brown. We head to the caf where he has laid out plenty of snacks and treats for the other crewmates. Go nuts, he says, gesturing towards all the food on the tables. I will, I say, licking my lips. He seemed confused as to why my stomach moved. Finally, in at number 1, God. This one is based off my own experience in our last Among Us gameplay video. It was 11 PM. My friends and I were playing Among Us, having some laughs, and constantly voting Dylan because it made him angry, but also because he was always suspicious. Everything was fine until the player known as God started playing. I guess they had guessed the room code somehow, but when they got on, things changed. We were playing on the Skeld, and then the map flipped. I know that the map does this on April Fool's Day, but how did they manage to flip it? We still don't know. They might have been hacking, but even a hacker doesn't have this kind of power. The round after they joined, God was the imposter. This became pretty evident when Dylan called them out for jumping into a vent after killing Jared. God then started fighting, saying that it was actually Dylan that killed him because God was in medbay the whole round. We tried voting for God, but misclicked and voted Dylan instead. At least, that's what we thought at the time. Later on, the misclicking became more frequent, as Dylan kept trying to vote God out of spite, but ended up voting a random person each time. It really mattered in the last round, when it was God again, but they were down to 3 people, God, Bree, and Abby. They both knew it was God, but somehow when they voted so that the vote would be tied and God would live to sabotage and taunt both Abby and Bree. I don't know if that could have been a hacker. I don't think hacks are that advanced. All you should take away from this is you can't vote for God. He isn't a democracy. And attend tasks. I think I've played too much of Among Us. I know, it's too good. You can't play too many rounds. But when you experience what I am every single day, it can grow to be much more than anticipated. I played Among Us for probably a month straight. We were on lockdown, so I didn't really have anything else to do. My friends and I would mostly play, but whenever they dipped to play something else, I continued on mine. I would only take breaks to go to sleep and go to the bathroom, eating while playing, and would play until the wee hours of the morning, when my father was getting up to go to his essential work. Anyway, after that month I was pretty burnt out, so I stopped playing. But the thing is, I never really stopped. At first I thought I was sleep deprived, but I've been living the game for around 2 months now and it hasn't stopped. I see a taskbar everywhere I go. When I'm doing laundry, taskbar. When I'm eating food, taskbar. When I'm playing Minecraft, I still see a taskbar and it doesn't go away. No matter what I do, I'm living in the game. And I can't sleep until the taskbar is full. I now expect to walk around the corner and see my sister torn in half. Oh man. Emergency meeting! In a 9 squatter. The only reason the imposters are able to easily infiltrate the crewmates is because they're always there. They hide in the ventilation until a couple of unfortunate souls take a look. Then they snatch them and shapeshift into them. This explains why we know not to go in the vents as crewmates and how we instantly know when there are imposters. Perhaps because we found the bodies or they just started acting differently. The aliens sneak onto the ship when it's landed and work to wipe us out. It's terrifying because it's real. This happens in real life. Not the whole aliens thing, but the people hiding in plain sight waiting for the perfect time to strike. Be careful looking into the vents. You may find more than just dust bunnies, and probably a squatter looking for your head. Not that head. Stop it. In an 8 school. The cameras in Among Us are so good. While they may have limited vision, they keep the rooms lit when the lights are out and can really help identify the imposters if they don't pay attention to the blinking red light. But this game has not only made me suspicious of my friends, but my school's security system as well. We have cameras in every hallway, not in classrooms, which should serve to comfort me but really doesn't. But no matter what, I always feel like I'm being watched. They don't have a red light or anything to indicate someone watching them, but I always feel like there's someone who is. The day goes by normally. Class, class, lunch, class, class, and by the end of the day, someone always gets called to the office. I didn't think anything of it until my friend Jonah got called. He said he'd see me tomorrow when he went in, since I was leaving for the bus, but he didn't come back the next day. I called his mom, but nobody answered, and the office just said that he had called in sick. I think I may be right about this, so I'm going to act as suspicious as possible so I can get called in and get to the bottom of this. It worked. They called me in. They're all staring at me, asking if they should vote me out. I didn't realize my principal played Among Us. Wait, what's wrong with your stomach? Minute 7, hide and seek. The lights are off. I just finished my tasks. I'm in the admin room. I'm hiding under the table. It shows where people are, but luckily you can't really see it when the lights are off. I hear footsteps and the sound of Red's voice. They're calling out to me, asking me if I'm okay, but I know better. I watch them turn the lights off. They did this. They've been the one killing people. I know better than to fall for these traps, so I keep my mouth shut. But then I hear another voice. It's Blue. They ask Red if they found me, and Red responds with, "Yeah, I'm here." They both enter. Does he have an accomplice? All my questions are answered when I hear a body smash onto the very same table I'm hiding under. It felt like it was going to break. I prepared myself for the worst, but it was silent until the gunshot. It caught me so off guard that I squealed. That's when Red looks down and smiles. Want to play hide and seek? Minute 6, soul siphon. Everyone has a little bit of soul inside them, no matter how corrupt or cruel they are. These make for excellent, let's say, fuel sources. When extracting the soul from an individual, you must find it deep within them, the place they hold the most near and dear to their heart. their heart. It's fairly easy to do once they're dead, it just requires some efficient extraction. The easiest way to do this is by cutting the body in half. It's the easiest way to get to the heart. It's attached to the bone, so you need to keep that intact, but other than that, it's fairly simple. Once you get the heart, the soul is fairly easy to retrieve, it's at the center, and then you can use that power to do anything you want. Why do you think Mira keeps sending crewmates to get slaughtered? Halfway through at number 5, experiment. Everyone wants to find the lore of Among Us, and the real reason we can't is because there isn't any. It's quite simple. We set up a fake space voyage for a group of 5 individuals. These individuals are of an alien race, Kerfabulon, which has recently had a hold over various governments here in the United States. We sent them out to these missions to slowly eradicate their race. The Kerfabulons are known for not working well in groups. Well, known to us, not you. And we've sent them there with the explicit purpose of having them perish. At least a couple are sure to crack and start killing the others, and then we can kill them before they quote-unquote return. There have been a few instances where the individuals have been able to throw out the ones committing the murders, and if this occurs, we let them return safely, since they appear to no longer be the savages they once were. It's a foolproof plan, really. The only thing that can ruin it is if someone blabbed. Well, anyways, gents, fire. And at 4, VR. Among Us in VR is one of the most terrifying things. It's like any other horror game, but it's your friends doing the scaring, not the game itself. The back of Electrical is the worst place to be, and the devs even made the lights flicker back here so that no matter what, it's still even worse. The grind is still the same though. You go around doing your task, watching out for people, and trying not to be killed. But when you do get killed, it's horrible. They play a loud noise and force your character to turn around to see the assailant. But recently, a couple nights ago, I saw one kill that made me never want to play this game again. I was in medbay and I had just finished a scanning when the doors closed and Red popped out of the vent. They came over and stopped for what felt like a smile and then killed me. But this kill was different. They pushed me to the ground, kicked my head, and then plunged their knife into my chest. I was dead at that point, but the animation continued. They stabbed me more and more, eventually up to 11 times, and then used their knife to cut my body in half, explaining why the bottom half remains, and then brought the top half into the vent as the doors opened. And at 3, third imposter. I'm not good at Among Us. I always end up trusting the wrong people somehow, even with my friends who I know so well enough to not trust. But I still manage to get it wrong. This always bites me in the butt, but not as much as it did a few hours ago. I was playing a game with my friends when a random managed to join. I guess they mashed the keyboard and ended up with our code. We were instantly suspicious of them and just planned on voting them off because we didn't know them and wanted them to leave. Once we voted them though, it said that they were an imposter, but then the imposter role got switched to me. I saw the sabotage button and the kill button, and even saw my friend's name in red. They were as confused as I was because at the beginning of the round, I was a crewmate, but we went about our new business, killing everyone we could. When the round ended, we ended up winning, but the win screen only had the one who joined, not me, and not even my friend who was the imposter originally with the rando. They said in chat, "Thanks for the juice," and then left. I've never found someone with the name Trajectory since. And at 2, the child. No, this isn't about Baby Yoda, but rather about the baby Brown that was left behind thanks to that wretched Cyan. I was Brown. I was doing wires and electrical with my son, Junior. He wanted to be just like me. He wanted to learn everything I knew. I loved it. With his mother being gone, I was all he had, and having him want to be like me instead of worrying about his mother always made me wake up in the morning. Now, when I was doing wires, I heard some footsteps behind me. I turn around and see Cyan with a tongue the size of a python coming out of its stomach. Everything went cold, and he took my body to the cafeteria, saying that he had just found it. My main concern was my son. He had been looking at something shiny and decided to pick it up, but when he wanted to show me, I wasn't there. He remembered that I always told him that if he gets lost to stay still, so he just sat down, waiting for me to come find him. This is why I'm afraid to ever have children. What the f***? Why are you so cruel? Finally, in at number 1, Among Us. I never expected to play a real life game of Among Us, but that was just what my life has turned into. It's like Clue and Among Us had a weird demonic baby with my life. My friends and I all live in the same house, kind of like a frat house, but we're not typically seen as morons. We had just finished a game of Among Us and I'll head out to the kitchen to get the pizza Mike ordered. But when we get there, Mike was dead. He was the first killed in game, so he was able to get the food, but then that left the question, which one of us did it? There was one person who died second, so we figured that it was Clarence, but we called the cops and they let him go. Now I'm sitting here with the rest of them, in what feels like the world's longest staring contest. Where do we go from here? And will they notice the bloodstain on my leg from the knife that I forgot to wash off? And attend the first imposter. Somehow there are 7 of us. We've been sent to a new planet, which we're calling Polus, in order to colonize it. There were 6 of us on that ship, 3 men, 3 women, for the purposes of repopulation. But I don't know how I counted 7 of us on that ship when it took off. This new crewmate is in a red spacesuit, and I can't help but be suspicious. They say that they were shy and honestly don't know why they're here since they don't have a partner, but I guess it's so they can reproduce with their children? They sound fairly young, but it's still weird and I don't approve of it in the slightest, and Mira has some odd ideas and maybe thought of this last minute as a way to prevent inbreeding. Whatever. We landed on Polus, and the outpost Mira used robots to help set up is already ready, but in need of some serious repairs only humans can do, so we divvy out the tasks and get to work. We all clock in using our cards, but Red is off to work, saying he doesn't need to clock in since he was a last minute addition and they didn't have a key card ready in time. Of course Mira wouldn't be prepared. They're incredibly incompetent and inconsiderate. How are we supposed to repopulate if we're all standing in the same room? Just as I think that, I hear the sound of a pistol loading, and before I can turn around, boom. In a 9 trial. Let's just throw him out. What? Why? If he suffocates, he was human. If not, he's an alien. Well, what if aliens also need oxygen to breathe? If that was the case, why would they have sabotaged our O2? He has a point. No, if we throw him out without being sure, how are we supposed to rationalize that? There's 1 of him and 5 of us. If it's not him, we still outnumber it 4 to 1. That's not enough. It's killed 4 of us already. We need to try. If it's them, we're all safe. If not, then we just need to throw someone else out. That's stupid, not to mention suicidal. Hey, guys, you know I can hear you, right? Okay, chuck him. What about you, Yellow? You think you should go? You fools, I say, as I take up my knife and show them my tongue. And at 8, seeing double. The day was just like any other. Finished school, got home, and instantly started playing games with my friends. I was grounded, so I shouldn't have been playing, but I can't help it. They need me. They're idiots without me. Anyway, that day we were playing Among Us, a game that had recently started trending online, creating a wave of distrust and anger between friends. Just our kind of game. Like Mario Party, but more personal. In the game there are up to 10 players, known as crewmates, and 1 to 3 imposters. We only had 7 people, so we were playing with 1. I was the imposter, and I was super stoked, but that would soon become the worst day of my life. The imposter is basically a shape-shifting alien that wants to murder everyone. With that in mind, let me tell you how it came out of my game and took over my life. I was playing as the imposter and there were 4 people left, including me. My friends suspected me, but I said I'd bet my life on the fact that Jared, Lime, would be the imposter. And if I'm wrong, they can vote me out, knowing damn well that I would just kill one of them before they could. They voted out Lime and I was left to win the match, but instead my screen went black. I wasn't able to do anything, and then my power cut out. I was looking at my reflection in the monitor when I saw it smile. I wasn't smiling, but it was, like in a horror movie. What I can only describe as a grimace that was so evil I felt my skin crawl, and then it vanished. I blinked and my reflection came back, but it was normal. I thought it was a weird trip, so I decided to go downstairs and see if my parents could get the power back, but when I did, the power got turned back on, and my family was eating at the dinner table. With me. They turned around and the other me yelled, "Imposter!" and then they charged at me, and everything went black. And it's 7 Silent Assassin. The following story comes to us from user 7833461254 =D on Reddit, and was honestly, in my opinion, underappreciated, especially this name. This creepypasta relies on a glitch that can occur whenever you see someone go into a vent. When they come out of the vent, they can be invisible. This is the worst on the Polus map, where the vents don't have any opening or closing animation, thus unable to indicate when someone uses them. This glitch occurred to our author since nobody was able to watch him murder someone. Since when they did, the body was called and Red said that they had just collapsed. The whole lobby figured that that was BS and voted Red out because Red is always sus, and then the round continued. However, even now the player's crewmate was invisible, even to the author, so we kept playing, killing indiscriminately and eventually got one in a large group of people. They instantly started accusing each other and never brought up the fact that they didn't see Cyan. But this doesn't end there. After the round had ended, the author didn't get the normal victory screen. Instead, he got a message that said, "You're good at what you do. Here to join me with options for yes and no. The author clicked. And at 6, Among Us. There was 2 years of preparation behind this mission. 5 of us were set to be gone for 6 months, an expedition for scientific research. The first 2 days were mostly adjusting. It was weird not to touch the ground. I haven't really seen much of my crew, but over the next few days I plan on introducing myself. It's been 4 days now and I've introduced myself to 5 people, even though there should only have been 4 on the ship. Each day we have a routine. First we eat breakfast in the caf, and then we all have individual tasks that we need to do to keep the ship working. We all clock in the admin room by swiping our card and then move on to the rest. I walk into electrical to fix some wires since I saw the light flickering, but as I approach the panel I see a white blob on the ground. I turn on my radio as I come closer and see a bone sticking out of the flesh. Black reporting. White, he's dead. They all answer back. What? How? Where? Electrical. I was alone. I haven't seen anyone except Brown. Brown chimes in and says, "This? I would never do something like this. It's inhumane." Red interjects with, "What are you trying to say, Brown? There's something among us." If you want to read the full story, check it out on Reddit. It was written by Fleshwad, and it's a very long one, and this list is already long enough, okay? Link is in the description below. You can check it out. Halfway through to number 5, data mining. Among Us is a simple game that other people can't really hack. They can hack to cheat, like making themselves always the imposter or giving themselves a huge kill range, but you can't really get other people's data in the game, unless you're the developers. The game devs have made the game so simple and addictive in order to steal your data and sell it to the highest bidder. Ever wonder why you all of a sudden get imposter when you've called out for it, saying that you'll quit if you get crewmate again? Or why the rounds are so quick and addictive? It keeps you playing. The game is cheap, so you'll be more likely to play it, and you have to pay for it so they can get your credit card information. The game is cross-platform, meaning that you can play with mobile users to get people to download the app for free, where you keep all your important info like emails, passwords, bank accounts, pictures. The Among Us developers only need you to sell you. And if you don't believe me, why don't you take the risk and test it yourself? And at 4, fault line. Fault lines are a natural occurrence in real life. These faults can cause more and more intense earthquakes because of the tectonic plates below the surface of the planet. But Polus itself is a fault line, at least it is to hackers. That's why they have the seismic stabilizers, to prevent any catastrophic events from occurring. The imposters can sabotage this and use it to win the game. However, the hackers can use this fault to their advantage, by making the stabilizers impossible to fix. Since Polus has such a big fault, this makes a catastrophic event inevitable and extremely dangerous. If a hacker does this, you can see cracks form in the ground. The lava slowly seeps out from within the depths of Polus. You'll die if you touch it, but the imposters can walk along like nothing's wrong. The lava also comes from within the vent holes that are present within Polus, and you can see the light come up as the lava rises. Be careful on Polus, it's more dangerous than you might think. And at 3, God. Among Us has no God, until you meet the one going by God. They always get the white spacesuit and they always wear a halo. I thought they were just kidding at first, that this was just a joke they had and that their friend would join as Lucifer or Satan or something like that, but no. Instead, they were the actual God of Among Us. They can control every single aspect, as if they were a hacker, but more. The control the God of Among Us has is incredible. They choose the imposters, then wipe their memory, they can instantly complete tasks, and they can even kill imposters without having the button. It's an incredible sight to see, but also disturbing. Who would have so much control? Who is playing this character? Is this the game devs? Is it a hacker? Or is it something more? Oh God, please no. And at 2, deal. I'm trash at Among Us. I can't lie for crap, and I can't seem to fake tasks properly. That in combination with my anxiety makes playing the game as an imposter practically impossible. So when someone came around saying that they could make me good at the game, I was all ears. They said it costed my soul, but I figured that it was a figure of speech since I would have to train and spend some more time getting used to lying, but it didn't. They meant my actual soul. I didn't think that was real. I thought souls were just like a metaphor. Now, I feel nothing. I don't have any emotion. I don't have a sense of right and wrong. I know what's typically seen as right and wrong, but I have no problems with doing wrong. If I want or need something, it doesn't really matter what I have to do to get it. I thought they were just going to improve my skills by training me, but that thing, whatever it was, just made me heartless. Or rather, soulless. At least nobody can tell if I'm the imposter, right? Finally, in at number 1, burnt. It was a normal game of Among Us, a group of my friends along with myself casually playing while having a few drinks. But after seeing what became of the crewmates you threw out, I don't think we'll ever play this game again. It was the third round. 4 people had been killed and there were 5 of us left. We were playing with 2 imposters, so we knew we had to vote, otherwise we would lose. The 2 most suspicious were white and orange. They were both near the body and claimed that the imposter was the other one. We voted out orange and then called a meeting as soon as we could. Somehow the imposters didn't call sabotage, so we figured we got the right one. But to be safe, we threw out white as well. We were playing in Polus, so we threw them into the lava pit. That's important, because after the round ended, we had a new player. But it wasn't anyone new, it was white. They were back. They crawled out of the lava in order to finish their tasks. The spacesuit they wore was melted and burnt everywhere. They were basically wearing the black spacesuit, but with a little more red, and they were still on fire. They ended up completing their tasks and won the game, but my friend didn't talk that whole time. I'll never know why they didn't just become a ghost, and why my friend doesn't remember what happened. In Attend the First Imposter, I thought it would be fine. I thought it was a harmless alien slug. I thought my spacesuit would protect me if anything, but I didn't expect this. I was on a planet that was at the time known as Omega 9. It would later be renamed by some security guard who won a contest. But at the time, the planet was newly discovered by a company I work for, Mira. I was sent there on a simple recon mission, gathering information and samples of whatever I could find. It was going well, until I found the slug. This thing was mean looking, with a slimy yellow-green body and one giant antenna with an eye on top. It was truly something. Then it just jumped onto my visor. It had grabbed on with its mouth, allowing me to see inside of it, and it was something impressive. The amount of teeth this thing had was comparable to a shark. The rows and rows of teeth only left my gaze when its tongue started moving. It was licking my visor at first, until I saw it pull its needle-like tongue back into its throat. It disappeared, and for a second I was calm, until it came shooting back with such force it knocked me to the floor. It cracked my visor, and I knew this would be the end. I tried getting it off all I could, even shot it with the gun Mira provided. Nothing. Eventually it broke through, and well, that leads us to now. Uh-oh, better go fix O2. In at 9, Michaela Loris. You may know my brother, Eris Loris. His actual name is Aaron, by the way. Being related to Eris is probably one of the most annoying things. He does it in real life too, trapping people with him and forcing them to hear out his crazed rambling of the day. At first it was that he wanted to be closer, which was actually weird considering how I'm his sister, but then it moved to starting a YouTube channel and getting better at games, to how every one of us was an imposter and the game should have ended by now. He's still stuck on Among Us. Even after the election and everyone's spamming his comments begging him to stop trapping people and spamming them in Among Us. He thinks the game is real. He thinks that he's the only crewmate left. It drives him crazy. Crazier than normal. We can't take him out anymore without him crying out that we're imposters, or even accusing others of it at a restaurant or mall. It's embarrassing, but also scary. Oh god, I can hear him. I'm locking my door. Not that it will do anything. Reminder guys, if you're enjoying the video, please hit that like button. It really helps us out and lets us know what you want to see more of. In at 8:02. I woke up short of breath. Everyone else woke up with me. We were all feeling it. The lights were off and the backup lights came on. It was red, flashing since there was an emergency. We must have been hit by something overnight. Me, orange, and green head to oxygen, while black, white, and blue head to lights. Orange splits off and goes to admin since there's an actual panel in there for oxygen as well. Green turns to me and as he's inputting the code. We must have been hit by something big. He hardly managed to speak. The oxygen is running low. He puts in the code and we wait. Nothing. We start heading to admin. We walk as fast as we can. If we have a limited supply of oxygen, running will only waste it. When we get to admin, we see orange. Well, half of them anyway. We don't have time to worry about that right now. We'll all be dead if we don't get the oxygen back. Green and I run over to the panel, panicking. But then I hear what sounds like a grate opening, like metal on metal from behind us. Green drops to the ground. I turn around and see them. Blue. They look at me. Good riddance, they said, with ease, like they didn't need oxygen to survive. Blue punched me and dropped. Then they started walking away. I managed to get out, "What are you?" before everything faded to black. And at 7, Among Art Online. When my friends and I play Among Us, we always try to have a theme. For example, we'll all call ourselves Dragon Ball Z characters and pick colors that make sense with the character we're named after. But when we tried doing this with Sword Art Online characters, that was our biggest mistake. Sword Art Online, commonly referred to as SAO for those who don't know, is an anime where a large group of people get trapped in a virtual reality video game, where if they die in real life. These characters then need to beat the game to escape. We didn't expect for the same rules to apply to us, but they did. But we didn't know that at first. That round I was the imposter. We were all in a Discord call having non-game related banter during these rounds, when I ended up killing my friend who was named Kirito after the main character of the anime, and was black to go along with it. When I killed him, he instantly went quiet in the Discord call, which is understandable, but a giveaway that someone was killed. And then my partner killed Brown, who also stopped talking. We told them that they could keep having conversations, but they didn't, and that's when we clued in. The rules of the game applied to us. If you die in the game, you die in real life. We need to vote now. Do I try and win or let them know my true intentions? And it's 6 stranded. We finally landed. It's taken us weeks, maybe even months to get here. I've lost count. But we finally made it to this strange new planet. Currently, we're calling it Polus, but it might change later on, depending on what Miro wants to do with it. We've set up research stations and a general base of operations, complete with a ship landing dock, because we're nearly out of fuel. We're waiting on a supply ship for more. We still have another planet to investigate. Polus is fine, nothing too out of the ordinary, aside from how it's making a couple of us feel. I guess it's just adjusting to the new atmosphere. Red and Blue spend most of their time on the ship, maybe because it's familiar, but it's still kinda concerning. We've been here for a week now. You should be used to this place at this point. A few weeks have passed and the supply ship hasn't arrived yet. We're running out of fuel, and I'm seeing less and less of my crewmates around. I guess they're feeling it too, the worry. Red and Blue are still on the ship. Wait, why is it taking off? Where is it going? Everything we had is on that ship. Oh crap. Halfway through at number 5, Purple Guy. Really? You people found a way to incorporate FNAF into this game in a creepypasta format. Come on, why are you doing this to me? Last week I was playing Among Us online. I didn't know anyone, but I was having fun anyway. After one of the rounds, we had someone join called the Purple Guy. He was wearing a security guard uniform, but wasn't actually purple since we had someone using that color already, so we just kinda looked ridiculous. The game goes on, and after getting a couple rounds in, Purple leaves. This Purple Guy then changes his color instantly and then heads to the text chat and says, let's make things interesting. The round starts and I'm in electrical. I went here first since the killer should be on cooldown. Purple Guy comes in and instantly breaks my neck. The round has hardly started. How did he do that? I set the kill cooldown myself. No matter, I finish all my tasks as a ghost and then my body gets called. I don't know how it took them so long to find it. And when they do call the meeting, there's only 3 people left. They know they have to vote, but the vote is split. And Purple Guy gets a kill and then wins. Whatever. Well played. But Purple Guy ended up being the imposter for the next 5 rounds, until leaving after a nice say hi to the kids for me, letting someone else be the imposter. I don't know if that was a hack, but it was certainly not normal. And at 4 imposter, we all know the Among Us imposter is an alien. We see this since they, have a tongue that shoots out through what would be their stomach. But what we don't know is how they look like us. They could be shapeshifters, but if they are, why don't they change their color to look like someone they've killed or someone that was proven innocent? Why did they evolve to look like us? It's not all that important, but it's incredibly disturbing that this could be real. There could be aliens living amongst us who only have the intention to kill. There could have been these imposters since the beginning of time. Any killer that hasn't been identified, the Zodiac Killer, the Alphabet Murders, the Freeway Phantom, they could all just be these aliens that have evolved to look like us, or can shapeshift to look like anything or anyone they want to, and just kill because they can, and they know they won't get caught. And that's the genius of Among Us, because it's real, and you might have known your best friend for 6 years and have had sleepovers with them, but the truth is, I've just been biding my time. In a 3 live stream. I was watching a Disguised Toast livestream. He was playing Among Us with the usual peeps, Simp Kuno, Valkyrae, Pokimane, and others. But they only had 9 people in game, meaning that a 10th spot was open. People were trying their hardest to be that final spot, knowing damn well that even if we made it, they would just make a new room. The stream was going until at one point someone managed to get in. They were so excited. Toast was asking if anyone leaked the code intentionally or on purpose, but nobody did. This guy managed to guess it, and when they joined, the fan also joined. Somehow they had guessed the new code too. They said in text chat, "You're not getting rid of me that easily," and this really made Toast mad. He tried to kick them, but it wasn't working, and he was even yelling at the others asking who leaked it. But the game started loading, even though Toast didn't click it. They tried to leave and make a new room, but it didn't work, so they were stuck playing a round of Among Us with a fan. The fan was the imposter along with Toast, and Toast went to throw it so that they could try and kick them, but when Toast hit the button, he couldn't unmute himself, and when he tried typing in text chat, all he could say was "let's keep this guy." They ended up closing the stream early and it was never uploaded to YouTube, but it was one of the scariest YouTube live streams I've ever seen. Number 2, fraud. I don't know what it was, maybe a mod, maybe something else, but this was not a normal game of Among Us. It started with a lobby full of randoms. The only person I knew was my friend Robbie, who was playing as Lime at the time. I was playing as Green. We were both on a Discord call, but we still played properly, only having non-game related conversations during rounds. However, this one player, White, was being very suspicious, constantly accusing people. Obviously, they were hoping others would play along, but nobody did. They then went on about how they could control the game and hack our devices, but we knew they couldn't, so we kept going, ignoring them, keeping them around for entertainment. But then things started getting weird. Our votes started to change, like I would click skip, but it would vote pink. I would vote for White and it would move to brown. However, it was always whoever White was voting for. Eventually we all managed to skip, but it didn't matter because White voted for Lime, Robbie, and then voted 4 more times at once. White had 5 votes. This hasn't happened since that day, but please, if you think someone is hacking, kick them or leave the game. Finally, in number 1, Discord. I was playing a game of Among Us online with random people. I don't have many friends, and the ones I did were all doing homework. Losers. I was playing on the Skeld, undoubtedly the best map, when I was finally the imposter. I was wandering around faking tasks until I was finally alone with White in the medbay. I closed the doors, killed them, and then vented to electrical where nobody saw me. The body was called shortly after, and before people could even say where, Lime chimed in saying it was Red, me, saying that he knows because he's on a Discord call with White. Not cool, dude. They voted me off and they win, but something doesn't feel right about this. If they were on a call, why weren't they sticking together? Anyway, we do the next round, and this time Lime claims they're on a call with Brown, which I mean is very possible since once people leave, your color can change to what you originally had it before joining the server, but it's still annoying since they called out the imposter correctly again. This went on for a while, Lime claiming that they were on a call with various players. Eventually, I got killed first. When I did, I sarcastically shouted, "Curse you, Cyan the Platypus!" But then, Lime claimed that they were on a call with me and knew who the killer was. They said it was Cyan and even made the same "Curse you, Cyan the Platypus" joke. How? How did they know? I had Discord, but it wasn't open. How is he hearing me? And at 10, Rhonda. The following story is from user pppoopoo624 on Wattpad. Yes, that is actually their name. I love Among Us. I love it when I'm the imposter, the subtle joy of killing my friends, but there's something creepy I discovered a long time ago. I was playing on a private server with my friends when a person joined the server, somehow in the middle of a game. Their name was Rhonda, and they were cyan and wearing a cowboy hat. Because it's cyan, not light blue, you uncultured swine. We all assumed it was another one of our classmates and continued playing. I was walking around and there was a corpse report from my friend Liam, who was green at the time. My other friend Jason thought it was Rhonda and voted for them, even though they joined midway through and it couldn't be them because the game couldn't run without an imposter. My friends all voted them out except for me since I was the imposter, and then Rhonda was ejected. When they were ejected, we didn't get the normal message. Instead, we saw "You have made a grave mistake, mortals." We ignored it, then shortly after I fainted. When I woke up, I was in the hospital. The doctor told me I jumped off my roof, and I later found out there was an incident at my school that killed 50 students and 2 teachers, including everyone from that game. And at 9, Eris Loris. I was just chilling and playing Among Us, but after one round, a character named Eris Loris came onto my server. They put me in a pitch black area and then said, "Go subscribe to Eris Loris, we hacked your device." Was this some sort of weird bot? Well, no. After they said that, I quickly deleted Among Us, then tried to reinstall it. When I loaded up the game again, I was still there and the message kept playing. There was no escape. This actually isn't technically a creepypasta because it's true. Honestly, it started this week and has become a real big issue in the Among Us community. I personally have not encountered this, but it could be specifically focused on the States, since now the message also includes the phrase "Vote Trump 2020, which makes it even more annoying. If you see this message, please don't click on the Discord link that they end up providing, okay? Just close the game and relaunch it and hope you don't have to deal with it again. And at 8, Impostor Within. The game of Among Us is infectious. It implants itself inside you with one quick match online and then grows more and more, getting bigger every time you play, watch, or think about it. You may think, it makes you play more, but no. I'm talking about the imposter within. It's like another personality, like a symbiote, something that takes over when I sleep. My parents recently asked me why I was up so late, but I've fallen asleep at 10 for the past week because I've been so tired. It all started when I started playing Among Us. After it blew up, I was introduced to it via a streamer I watch, but after playing it, I would go to sleep early. I didn't think anything was up at first, but as I slowly started waking up further and further from my bed, it made me feel nauseous as I began to understand what had happened to me. Final straw was when I woke up standing over my mother and father's bodies. They had a hole through their head, and I had a metallic taste on my tongue. And at 7, to the max, right? The maximum amount of players in Among Us is 10. There's no way you can get more than that into a game, but for some reason there was a public lobby allowing for over 600 players. I didn't understand it, figured it would be a hacker, but I joined anyway, curious as to how this would be possible and what would happen because of it. I join in and there's only a few spots left. The first thing I noticed is that the lobby itself was packed and I couldn't even see my character, and that there were many duplicate colors. I guess that it will make it more interesting, but 1000% more difficult. When the last player joined, the game loads, and I see the full lobby has 666 players. Being raised in a religious household, that number instantly set off alarms. I tried to leave the game, but it wouldn't let me, and the kill cooldown was only 10 seconds, probably to accommodate the amount of players. I was a crewmate, but didn't really want to be in this match, so I stood at the top of the cafeteria waiting to be killed, but they never came. They killed everyone else. I even said in a meeting that I would be a free kill, but nobody ever came. As the group got smaller, the noises became more apparent. The growling, the yelling, the screaming, as if we were all in hell. And at 6, the goo. Some people wonder what the imposter is. Most figure a shapeshifter, which is probably true, but if that's the case, what's the imposter's true form? I found this out the hard way, and needless to say, it's not pretty. It was a late night during the summer, close to when school would start, and I was playing in a public lobby since my friends had gone to sleep. I was doing all 3 tasks at the back of electrical when I see something come out of the vent. It wasn't human. It looked more like a sludge. I ran as fast as my little crewmate legs could carry me, but wound up getting sealed in. As I did, the sludge shifted back into a crewmate. They instantly killed me and sludged their way back into the vent, but now I see why they did that. They didn't play a vent animation when that happened. There was no sound either. They turned into goo so that they wouldn't be traceable. They continued this way for the rest of the game. They clearly won, but I never saw someone use that trick again. Was it a hack, or was it something more? Halfway through number 5, imposter. There's something wrong here. Someone is trying to kill us. Why else would they have turned off the oxygen? What if it was just another thing that needed repairs? We've been fixing the ship for half an hour now. That's something a fake would say. Yeah. So what happened to the real Blue, huh? Did you snap his neck? What are you guys talking about? It's me, guys. I don't believe him. Chuck him. No, guys, come on, please. Okay, that's dealt with. What if he wasn't an imposter? What if you're just trying to help him? No, come on, guys, he's already dead. An imposter wouldn't die in space. They could probably breathe, right? It has to be him. No, come on, are you hearing yourselves? Okay, another one down. Let's watch to see if he suffocates, just to make sure we got them all. Okay, he's not breathing, Cyan. What? How? It has to be you. No, you're the one who wanted to kick them out all the time. It has to be you. Come on, man. If I'm going, I'm taking you with me. Ah! Error. Oxygen levels depleting. Power supply failing. Please reconnect wires and reboot oxygen dispersal. And then 4, Polus. Alright, have they made it? Yes, sir, they've landed on Polus. Perfect. Can we have that laser ready? Sir, not that I have any authority, but may I ask why we're doing this? Because, Charles, one of them is an imposter. They made contact with an alien race that is now hell-bent on the destruction of humans. The only way to absolutely neutralize the threat is to eliminate all potentially infected parties. And what if they infected others while back here on HQ? Well, then we'll send more parties until we can be certain the threat is neutralized. Sir, I can't let that happen. Are you saying you want me dead? No, I'm saying that if this is how Mira handles situations, I won't be a part of it. Consider this my 2 weeks notice. Alright, that's about how long the flight takes. Guards? No, you'll regret this. Alright, ready the laser. And at 3, engine failure. We wake up to the ship shaking. It's shaking violently, not like the normal space shaking you would get. which is already weird enough, but whatever. The other crewmates grab their tools and we run to the navigation room. The ship's autopilot is failing. I balance the steering while green sets the course. While all this is going on, the oxygen then fails. Blue and yellow go to check it out, while cyan says he's going back to bed. Green and I get up to leave and the oxygen still isn't fixed. We run to the oxygen room and see yellow on the floor. We quickly input the code and then check to see if they're okay. They weren't. They were dead, collapsed on the floor, body torn in half. We don't know what could have done such a thing, but we know that cyan said they wanted to go to bed, and that blue was meant to do the other oxygen. And into the virus. After getting back from Polus, we are required to do a mandatory 2-week quarantine. This is to prevent any potential alien illnesses, diseases, or viruses from spreading back to the workers in the HQ. But this is probably the most insufferable thing I've ever had to do. They make us quarantine in space, since records show that humans really don't do well in quarantine situations, and since we're dealing with potentially the deadliest diseases unknown to mankind, they need us to follow through. So we rest on the skilled for a couple weeks before going back to HQ, before our final mission to Polus, where we will establish a colony. There's something different about this quarantine though. Someone is actually sick, which is why they're making us do it in space, I'm sure. Red has been coughing up a storm, they've been coughing up blood, they've been bleeding from their nose, and they can hardly speak without needing to cough. It's concerning for the others too, since we don't know if we already have it. And if we do end up getting it, then the quarantine needs to be extended until we're all deemed safe. I just hope that nobody snaps and gets rid of the rest of us to make things go by faster. Actually, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. Finally, and at number 1, ghosting. I'm not a hacker, I promise, but somehow I can see the ghosts of crewmates after they've been killed by either a cold-blooded murder or ejecting. I don't know why and I don't know how, but it's won me the game around 10 times now. The ghosts always seem to crowd around the imposters, or who they think the imposter is. They think that it'll be interesting because they're the one with all the abilities, and it can make it intense when they walk past someone or head into electrical when the lights are off. And they're typically not wrong. So whenever I see the ghost crowding to a player, I watch that player. The ghosts you can see through walls and in the dark, so you never really lose sight of the imposter, and you can go inside any room they come out of to find a body. And then bada bing, bada boom, you caught the imposter and have a legit case. Instead of the all-time classic, I see dead people, but I still see dead people.